The Forgotten Village, a road that shouldn't exist. They say some places disappear from maps for a reason. But what happens when you accidentally stumble upon one? This is the terrifying true story of three friends who took a road that wasn't supposed to exist. A journey that led them to a forgotten village where time stood still. What they saw that night was so horrifying, none of them ever spoke about it again. But one of them never made it back. Story begins, the journey starts. It was a cold winter night when Amit, Karan, and Rahul set out on a road trip from Jaipur to Udaipur. They were traveling in Karan's old white SUV, laughing, playing music, and enjoying the drive. At around 1:30 a.m., their Google Maps stopped working. No signal, no GPS. Just an empty road ahead, surrounded by dense forests. "We should find a place to stop," Amit said. "It's too dark, and I don't feel right about this road." Rahul, who was driving, laughed. "Come on, dude, it's just a highway. We'll be in Udaipur in a couple of hours." But Amit wasn't convinced. The air felt different, thicker, heavier, unnatural. Then, they saw a signboard. Shivpur, 5 kilometers ahead. Karan frowned. "Shivpur? Never heard of it?" "There's no village named Shivpur on this route," Amit added. But they were too tired to argue. They decided to take a detour towards the village, hoping to find food or a place to rest. That was their first mistake. Arrival, the village that shouldn't exist. As they drove into the village, everything felt wrong. The houses were old, abandoned, and covered in dust. No streetlights, no movement, just a heavy silence. Yet, in the distance, they saw dim lights coming from a temple. "Finally, let's ask someone," Karan said. But the closer they got, the stranger things became. The village looked frozen in time. There were bullock carts, lanterns, and mud houses, like a scene from the 1800s. And then, they saw the people. Villagers stood outside their homes, staring at them. Not blinking, not moving, just watching. Amit whispered, "Bro, I think we should leave." But before they could turn the car around, an old man walked towards them. The warning: leave before sunrise. The old man had hollow eyes, sunken cheeks, and wrinkled skin. His voice was dry and cracked. "You shouldn't have come here." Rahul chuckled nervously. "Sorry, uncle, we just—" "Leave before sunrise," the old man interrupted, "or you'll never leave at all." Amit's heart pounded. Something was very wrong. But before they could react, a loud scream echoed from inside the temple. A woman screaming in agony. The villagers didn't even flinch. They just kept staring. Karan hit the accelerator, but the car wouldn't start. Something was stopping them from leaving. The ritual, a horrifying sight. Amit turned towards the temple. The doors slowly creaked open. Inside, they saw something that made their blood run cold. A woman dressed in red was tied to a wooden pillar. Her body was covered in strange symbols, drawn in blood, and around her were figures in black robes, chanting. Amit grabbed Karan's arm. "We have to stop them." But Rahul, his face had turned pale. "Look at her feet," he whispered. Amit looked again and realized the woman wasn't touching the ground. She was floating. Suddenly, her head snapped towards them. Her black eyes locked onto Amit. She opened her mouth to scream, but before the sound came, the old man from earlier slammed the temple door shut. "Leave now," he shouted. And finally, the car started. Escape. But not everyone makes it. Rahul pressed the accelerator. The car sped down the road. Amit looked back. The village was disappearing into the mist. No sign of the temple, no sign of the people, as if it had never been there. They didn't stop until they reached a highway dhaba, roadside eatery. Gasping for breath, they got out of the car. But then, Amit noticed something. "Where's Karan?" They looked around. Karan was gone. His seatbelt was still buckled. The door was locked, but he was missing. Panicked, they ran to the dhaba owner. Rahul asked, "Bhaiya, did you see our friend get out of the car?" The man looked at them, confused. There were only two of you. The final horror, a call from the beyond shaking. Amit called Karan's phone. It rang, and then connected. But what they heard wasn't Karan. It was a woman's voice. You shouldn't have left him behind. And then, the laughter began. They never saw Karan again. No police, no search team. It was as if he had never existed. But Amit still gets calls from his number. And every time, he hears the same voice whispering, "Come back. We're still waiting." End scene. Creepy closing statement. Some villages are forgotten for a reason. Some roads don't exist on maps. But if you ever see a sign that says Shivpur, 5 kilometers ahead, do not enter.